case has been investigated for civil rights violations by the Department of Justice. Matt Whitaker is the former acting U.S. Attorney General. He says for the DOJ, it's not a priority.
What I see is just a lack of curiosity and a lack of priorities. If you think about where the DOJ is allocating their resources, they're putting a lot of time and effort into Donald Trump and prosecuting him and trying to get him to trial in at least two places, federally in Washington and in Florida. But they should be focused on these acts of crime, of anti-Semitic and civil rights violations on our college campuses.
Meanwhile, in the southern states, it appears that there are more people against the anti-Israel protesters than there are protesters. Bronson Woodruff has more.
We've reported on campus protests all week, at least some of which have turned violent. One of the most recent places to have a protest is the University of Mississippi, also known as Ole Miss. Also notably, there's a large number of, anti-protesters. Alex McFarland is a Christian author, speaker, apologist, and more. He talked with AFN about this. He said one of the unfortunate realities in recent years is that so many of these rioting groups have something in common.
Whether it be for Black Lives Matter or whether it be for forcibly allowing illegals into America or now standing for terrorism and against Israel, chanting death to America.
He explained these groups are smuggled in.
These are people that are brought in, they're organized, they're funded. It is known that they are brought into areas to disrupt, to bring fear, to destabilize America. But in the Bible Belt, millions of citizens, they love God and country. And yes, they love the nation of Israel, as do I. In the southeastern U.S., people love this nation. They care about the rule of law and order and stability. They love the Lord Jesus, and they love the nation of Israel.
I'm Bronson Woodruff.
One of the Border Patrol agents falsely accused of whipping migrants at the border in Texas and chastised by Biden himself has now been given an award by the same government. The agent, whose name has been withheld since the September 2021 incident to protect his identity, received a Border Patrol Achievement Award from the agency on Thursday. The agent was one of 5 photographed on horseback during the incident where they were accused of whipping Haitian migrants at the riverbank in Del Rio, Texas, while trying to control members of a crowd of roughly 14,000 people crossing into the U.S. illegally. The findings are a complete about-face from the aftermath of the incident when Joe Biden famously said this.
It was horrible what to see, as you saw. To see people treated like they did, horses barely running them over, people being strapped. It's outrageous. I promise you those people will pay.
That statement, of course, was a blatant lie. European and Asian shares were mostly higher Friday ahead of a report on U.S. unemployment. Oil prices and U.S. futures were higher. More news available online at AFN.net and download the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty P.
Well, good evening, everyone, wherever you are on this Monday night. Yes, at the top of the week here. I've got a whole week to get through after a day off. I kind of like to do nothing on Sundays, but hang out with family and hang out on the ranch and take it easy. So, but it's Monday night, and I was up here early in the morning, working, getting everything lined up for a week of business on First Amendment Radio, and now it's time to close the day. So this is Nick at Night. All right, good to see all the people here, and a couple people waiting in the chat room over there at YouTube. No one in the chat room at Rumble or at First Amendment Radio Network, and I'm not looking at the other chat rooms out there, but so yeah, if you want, come over to First Amendment Radio chat room. There's a watch window there, or you can text me at any time if you want to get my attention, no matter where you're watching or what time of day. I'm not here all day, but I will catch up on the text. I see I just got back into the studio after taking off for dinner and hanging out at the house for a while. I also had to take some time to take care of a rattlesnake at my front porch. But that rattlesnake is dead now. Yeah. I find the best weapon is for a rattlesnake you can reach is a shovel. I've killed more with a shovel, and I've killed a few with my .22 rifle if they're in a tight spot that I can't get to them with a shovel. The rifle will usually take care of them. So that's my method. Yes. Okay, let's see. Let's take a look at Babylon Bee and see what they got going for us today. Some dry humor, hopefully something funny going on here. Let's see. Nabisco introduces long-awaited Chick-fil-A sauce stuffed Oreos. All I say is, yuck. I don't know. I've never had Chick-fil-A sauce, so it might be a good thing because I've never even seen a Chick-fil-A except on TV. So there's not one around me, so I've never seen a Chick-fil-A. But if I ever go by one, I guess I'll just have to stop in just so I can say I did it. Now, if I go by Disneyland, I'll just keep driving by. See, so it's the way I feel about Disneyland. Yeah. And No Bucks is waiting for the Happy the Clown. Good to see you, Genetic Modification. Hey, everybody's here tonight. I guess it's Monday night, yeah. Got Bob, Busy Bee, and Genetic Modification in the chat room. Yeah. So let's see what else we got from Babylon Bee. Maybe we'll find something funny here. Let's see. Trump forced to wear Hannibal Lecter muzzle for gag order violations. Well, that's funny today since the judge just fined him another $1,000 for speaking, for exercising his First Amendment rights of freedom of speech. The judge just doesn't want him to talk or say certain things, and I guess maybe that's too hard, Some people just have to talk about what's going on in their life. And I guess Trump is one of those people. So, maybe he would like the judge to throw him in jail. Because I think the judge threatened to do it today. He said, "Oh, I don't want to do it." I think he was just virtue signaling when he said all those things. I think he really does want to throw him in jail. So, and Trump is kind of going, "I dare ya." And then today he said, "I double dare ya." The $1,000 fine, that's a lot to me, but for Trump, I'm sure that it's nothing to worry about. That'd be like a 50-cent fine to me, or maybe a $100 fine. I don't know. I've never had $1 million in my life. So what do I know about being rich? Nothing at all. Okay. Man reaches age where he carefully checks ABV percentage on every beer he drinks. Okay, well, I don't drink beer, so I don't even know what that means. According to sources, local man has now reached the age where he carefully checks alcohol by volume. Whatever. Moving on, let's see what else we got here. Hamas celebrates proposed ceasefire with rocket barrage. Yeah, that's about the way it's going. Yeah, we want a ceasefire, but we want to keep the hostages. Just in case we need them for something else later on. Yeah, that's kind of, and then Israel says, no ceasefire until we get all of our hostages back. So, I guess we'll let them work that out. I'm not going to be partisan in that fight, that's for sure. I do feel sorry for any innocent people that are caught up there, and I wish it would come to an end as soon as possible. But I can't support either side. One, I can't afford to, and if I just gave support with my mouth, it would be worth nothing. But virtue signaling, and I'm not a virtue signaler like all of the other people, like on college campuses that are all virtue signaling. Yeah. See, Christy Noam attends Kentucky Derby to see if any horses need to be put down. Yeah, she's going to be a long time living that one down. And there's some things you don't write in a book for the world to judge you on, especially the woke world that we live in, and all these city dwellers. They can't understand that. Yes, you might have to put down a horse. You might have to put down a dog. You might have to kill a rattlesnake with a shovel or a .22 rifle. Yeah. So, yeah, those things happen. Mm-hmm. Okay, so nation cheers as protesters announce plan to stay confined on campus indefinitely. Yes, please. Just build a little wall around them. Let them know what Gaza is really all about, right? Okay. Let's see. Good one. Yes, indeed. Okay, let's see. It looks like Philip left me a long text today, but I can't read. Oh, man, that's a long text, Philip. Oh, yeah, today. Yeah, that's at least 10 or 12 paragraphs. Yeah, so I'll have to look at that later. But Philip still hasn't got back to me. I kind of offered him a spot I had open up in the morning on my lineup because John Arthur quit, So, okay, let's see. Disney World announces the new Chosen roller coaster, which goes underground for 3 days before rising again. Yeah, okay. See, Ivy League grads slip below county fair carnies on Forbes list of most desirable employee candidates. Okay. Hey, look, I got a call, and it's David from Knoxville, Tennessee. Let's talk to David. Thank you for calling, David. What do you got to say? Huh. Okay, well maybe I put the wrong name on this one because this must not be. Yeah. Okay, if this is not David from Tennessee, because I have the name David from Tennessee for this number. Okay, if your phone isn't working, let's see. Yeah, this is David because there's our conversation. Huh. Because he came, Guy Fawkes, the mystery caller from David in the Jesuit province of Knoxville, Tennessee. Oh, well, that's weird. Has somebody hijacked your number, David? Well, that's curious. I guess I'm going to have to get someone to call me in just to see if my phone works. Because I've got texts here from David, prior communications, and he did call in once. Oh, that's interesting. Or not, I don't know. How weird. Okay, well, I guess I have to end the call if nothing's happening. I had it up really loud. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with that, David. Yeah. This is End of Mankind, Nicholas. Oh. Okay, well, maybe he didn't mean to call me. Maybe because he just texted me. Yeah. And it says End of Mankind. So I guess that must have been an accidental call. Anyway, thanks for that. It's the end of mankind. And yeah, I was going to talk about the end of mankind a little bit today. So you might want to, well, maybe we're done with the Babylon Bee for now. Maybe we'll just jump into the end of mankind. And caught this on a number of news sites. So I picked our friends from, Redacted News to share this. NATO and Russia are prepping for total war. Putin orders nuke test. And if you heard from Nikolai Medvedev, what's his first name? Oh, Dmitry Medvedev. Yeah, that guy. Medvedev. His Russian names. Got to practice at them. And so he was talking about this too. So, and we got NATO and Russia are prepping for total war. Putin orders nuke test, redacted with Clayton Morris. Okay. Let's see. Maybe I'll share this stuff with you. Good to see you there, Shelley R. in the chat room too. Thank you for showing up tonight. All right, I'm going to play this while I got the sound up for that call that I couldn't hear. So that is weird, because does that mean that people that I know call in and don't say anything? Okay. So let me see. Oh, I was going to play this. Yeah. I think we'll check this out. Let me pull my own volume.
So Russia has placed the CIA-controlled Zelensky on their criminals most wanted list. Can you believe this? That means that there's no negotiating with Zelensky. He's finished. Russia will only accept the unconditional surrender of someone they now have classified as a criminal. Of course, Zelensky is a criminal controlled by the CIA and MI6, sending over 600,000 Ukrainians to die after he had signed a peace agreement, or a peace agreement was signed, and it was in his hands. So that's blood on his hands.
Yes.
Soldiers know that it's all over, by the way.
Unequivocally, so that he could continue to get camera time, so that he could pose for his...
Yeah, he could go to the Grammys,
so
he could go to the Academy Awards.
get his good side on, Western TV.
So soldiers know that it's over. I mean, they're sending their last messages now to their families, letting them know that their leaders like Zelensky control everything. Some of these new videos that are coming out from Ukrainian soldiers, just heartbreaking. But take a look at this one. This one, he knows that they're not controlling anything and that they are just cannon fodder.
Я думаю, братан, що це, блядь. Всім уже на все похуй, блядь. Мы же с тобой нихуя, во-первых, не решаем. Во-вторых, это походу последние дни, блядь.
So we don't control anything, and it looks like these are our last days. Now, these are messages coming out from units that have had like most of their units and other men killed in action. We're going to show you more in just a second. Do you want to say something?
No.
So, meanwhile, NATO seems hell-bent on going into a full-blown war with Russia. As of this hour, Russia is heading towards total victory in the Donbass. Tactical victory right now. Former Eastern Ukraine, of course, just in time for the May 9th victory parade in Moscow. Now, those aren't my words, but rather the words of a Ukrainian general that The Economist just interviewed. Fresh Russian push will test Ukraine severely, says a senior general. And this is an interview with the deputy head of Ukraine's military intelligence. So they're finished. This is collapsing. This is literally, and he talks about how this is just timed almost perfectly for this May 9th celebration parade in Moscow. So imagine that. We've totally cleared. We can declare victory in the Donbass. So now will you surrender? Because that's what we've been saying all along. Operationally, this is what we are here to achieve.
Well,
are you going to surrender or not?
Because last year, Zelensky declared that Ukraine would no longer celebrate that victory day on May 9th. They now celebrate it with the Western Europeans on May 8th. So, they'll be partying. They still will get their party in.
Yeah, exactly. So this means next stop is either Russia crosses the Dnieper River and advances towards other major cities, including Kiev, until unconditional surrender, or NATO intervenes with soldiers. And option number 2 is what NATO is pushing for, it would seem. This morning, France and the UK decided it would be a good idea to send troops to Ukraine. And the US says they're considering it as well. Are they out of their minds? I mean,
Yes.
this is something Putin said specifically would constitute war with NATO. So take a look at this. These are the ambassadors. This is the French ambassador and the British ambassador coming out, getting basically yelled at, called to the Kremlin, basically. And Moscow said, we know that there are troops in Ukraine. They left after spending about 40 minutes there. Both refused to talk to the cameras, to the press. Now, there have been some false reports floating around by the Asia Times this afternoon that says there are 100 French Foreign Legion forces in Ukraine. That was all from one source at the Asia Times, who's known to have some fake news, but that is fake news. But so we don't know actually how many French forces and British forces are there, but enough that Russia is not happy about it and called the ambassadors in about it. So we don't know the numbers. We're trying to find out more details about this. And of course, this will be foggy, but we're trying our best to get those answers on that. But this is a red line for Putin. So you're going to have NATO forces in Ukraine now, openly, not just like helpful guys that are just helping to help with some of the equipment. No, you're actually going to put boots on the ground in a meaningful way. It's game over. A few weeks ago, Putin told Macron that any French troops that you will send will end up like Napoleon. They will suffer the fate of Napoleon's army. Hungarian foreign minister is warning Macron that you are sparking World War III with this talk of sending in forces. If there's a nuclear war, everyone will die. So stop all of your talk about trying to send in forces, Macron. It's not going to happen, but they seem hell-bent on doing it. They know that this is it. This is the end game right now.
Right, and you can see even from this Reuters headline that it says Putin allies tell Macron. So it's not even Putin personally and how he feels about NATO troops being in a neighboring country. Recall that his parliament voted for the special military operation in 2022. So, they would like to make it seem that it's just this beast that's being provoked, but it's absolutely not. This has complete support inside the majority party in Russia.
Yeah, absolutely. And today, Russia told the UK, quote, "You won't be safe in Downing Street either." Sends this chilling threat, you won't be safe in Downing Street because we are going to launch and test nuclear weapons. Now, as a show of force and defiance, after the West vows to back Ukraine atop. This is Medvedev.
Again, look at this headline again. They're saying that it's Putin. He's wild. He flies off the cuff. But then who actually said it? It says below the attribution is top Kremlin crony. So they would like you to believe that it is just a personal vengeance of Putin. And it's clearly not. We're playing politics here with entire governments.
Yeah, and Russia's Medvedev actually released the statement. And I think they like to kind of play him good cop, bad cop there. So there's Medvedev. I'm just going to read what he said this afternoon. The choir of irresponsible scoundrels from the Western political elite calling for sending their troops to a non-existent country is expanding. Now it includes representatives from the U.S. Congress, the French, the British leadership, as well as certain lunatics from the Baltics and Poland. They're also advocating for the active use of their missile weapons supplied to the Bandera followers, also across the entire territory of Russia. So basically saying, yeah, you're going to use Western weapons now to try to spark and hit inside of Russia. And this is not just a spring escalation, but a cynical calculation for political dividends. This is some total degradation of the ruling class in the West. This class genuinely refuses to logically connect elementary things.
Yes.
Sending their troops to the territory of the former Ukraine will lead to their country's direct involvement in a war, to which we will have to respond. And unfortunately, not in the territory of former Ukraine. So we're not just going to attack in former Ukraine. We are going to hit Downing Street.
That's right.
We will hit targets in Europe that have already been mapped out and ready to go.
Yeah.
They're telling us this. So it's not going to happen in Ukraine. It's going to hit people where they live. In this case, he says, none of them will be able to hide either on Capitol Hill or Elysee Palace or the 10 Downing Street. A global catastrophe will ensue. By the way, Kennedy and Khrushchev understood this over 60 years ago, but today's infantile idiots who have clawed their way to power in the West stubbornly refuse to realize it.
Yeah, I like that. Medvedev says, in this case, none of them will be able to hide either on Capitol Hill, of course, Washington, D.C., in the Elysee Palace and 10 Downing Street. A global catastrophe will ensue. By the way, Kennedy and Khrushchev understood this over 60 years ago. But today's infantile idiots who have clawed their way to power in the West stubbornly refuse to realize it. Yeah, it's getting serious, people. And I know it's getting serious because I read the prophecy. And I do believe that Russia and China are the kings of the East, whose way has been made for the punishment of an apostate Western Christendom that has spread even to America and all over the world. And with these kings of the East, they will inflict punishment by God's direction, right? Because it is God who punishes the nations. And it is, as it is written, this is a punishment for apostasy in Western Christendom. That's how the historicists understand the revelation. And so now we see it's all set up, and the prophecy will come true. We can only pray that it's limited. And I think the prophecy also indicates that it will be limited, but it will be a severe punishment, but a limited one. Yeah. So there are other ways that God has been punishing America and the West also. Just look over the last 4 years and you'll notice some of them. Because, believe it or not, God really is in charge. Let's go to the break with this here.
Says. And that's precisely why today the General Staff has begun preparations for exercises including practical training on the preparation and use of non-strategic nuclear weapons.
At least they're not targeting civilians, because most civilians in those places whose leaders reside in those places don't want this, would love nothing more than for our leaders to stop this.
Yeah, I mean, we would love this. I mean, a new poll out says 70% of Americans don't want us to have to, we don't want to be sending any of these weapons to, we don't want to have any involvement. So why is America doing it? Because of our bloodlust of the military-industrial complex, the provocation of Putin, the topple.
And why is America doing it? Because the Antichrist and his shadow government run Washington, D.C., and what the Antichrist wants, the Antichrist will likely get, or he will try very hard to get it. Yeah, him and his shadow government that runs Washington, D.C., and most of the West. And that was the tone for my break. So we will come back after some messages. What do you guys think? Yeah, pretty scary times when you think about it, but the prophecy will come true. And like I said, all we can do is pray that it is limited and it doesn't hit our neighborhood, but it's going to hit somebody's neighborhood. And I hope that it hits the neighborhood of those that deserve it the most. And as with all war, I pray for God's mercy for those that are innocent and for God's people. I'll be back in a few minutes. Secrets of the Rapture. Is there a 500-year-old conspiracy? A propaganda machine so pervasive and entrenched, yet so elusive that the entire world could be taken in by it, working in plain sight, but unseen by the world for what it truly is? If prophecy is God-given history in advance, why does the prophecy that has conquered the age also exclude nearly 2,000 years of history? What is it that they are afraid that the light of history will reveal? To understand our place in time and prophecy, we must look in history for an interpretation, that which stands the test of time, that which agrees with the Word of God, and history has proven to be true. When cunning fables and fearful speculations are removed from our sight, then we may clearly see what is truly expressed in Bible prophecy, both that which has been fulfilled and that which has yet to come. God's express word is the sword that must be wielded to remove the scales from the eyes and dispel the darkness of deceitful conjecture. Secrets of the Rapture was written to expose that which the spirit of the age has conjured out of the darkness to blind the eyes of the church in the world today. Secrets of the Rapture, deconstructing Pre-Tribulation Dispensational Futurism by yours truly, Nicholas Arthur, is now available at lulu.com and Amazon. Secrets of the Rapture.
The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the internet. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
Welcome back. We are here at the end of the world, or at least on the eve of what appears to be World War III. Let's see, got some comments up here. Didn't a French secretary start World War I? I don't know. Haven't heard that one. It's my own opinion, says somebody. Okay. About something. I don't know what that's about, Bob. I'm so tired of this parallel reality. Parallel to what? Let's see. Did you know God travels on water? Genesis chapter 1. God moved upon the face of the deep. Or the Spirit of God moved upon the face. Yeah, I guess there is something about God traveling on the water. Oh, whether that's traveling or not, well, we could debate that maybe. She says, I picture him on his ski jet. I don't think God needs a ski jet, but yeah, okay, I get it. Anyway, thanks for the laugh. Said, yeah, and Jesuit Feed says, yes, we are saturated in it day and night. Chemtrails and smart dust. Smart dust? Yeah. Engineered, what do they call it? Nanoparticles? Must be. Well, why don't we let Clayton Morris finish this story? It's a few minutes to go on it because there's still some good stuff in here that I wanted to check out. I watched this earlier, so we'll let that finish and we'll carry on. Okay.
Of Putin so that we can have access to his resources, steal his minerals, so that we have a destabilized Russia like in Libya and other places that we try to go in and destabilize. That was the goal. That's the goal, is to go into Russia and destabilize the country, swoop in for its resources. This weekend, Hakeem Jeffries got a nice love fest profile on 60 Minutes. There he is, Democrat leader. And he is saying, yeah, you know what? We're going to send U.S. troops. They will enter the Ukrainian conflict. Yeah, that's all we need. We're going to send them in because, you know what? If it looks like the front lines are going to start to fall, and that's exactly what France is saying, that's what Britain is saying. If Russia is able to push beyond that front line right now, the Ukrainian front line, and push beyond that, we'll send troops.
Libtards for war.
So NATO's fully in this. This is why you're seeing this scrambling this afternoon. The FT this morning, Financial Times, saying that Russia is plotting to sabotage targets across Europe. Of course they are. So the FT writes this as if Russia hasn't already identified each specific target that it would strike in a retaliation.
You better believe they have.
Political science Vladimir Kolinov says, amazing people. Western leaders are directly talking about how they will use their Ukrainian proxies to blow up Russian facilities, kill Russian people, destroy our bridges and oil storage facilities, and stage terrorist attacks on the territory of the Russian Federation, which is what they're talking about doing, using long-range weapons to strike inside of Russia.
And have been doing this.
So he's saying, of course, you're an idiot if you don't think we've already identified. And then they're terribly surprised that someone in Russia, he says, is planning retaliatory strikes against their infrastructure facilities. The Financial Times devoted a big article to this, he writes. We need to tell them in a secret. In Russia, of course, a list of European facilities for nuclear strikes is also planned. Of course, in the case provided by our defense concept. Otherwise, they really think that Russia is bluffing about this? Again, Ukrainian soldiers are sending video messages home to their moms right now, basically saying, I'm not going to see you again. It was a mistake to tell you, Mom, that I'd be home soon.
Yeah.
This soldier just lost most of the men in his unit. Now, I'm not going to speak over his voice. I want you to watch this.
Yeah, this is
and if you're driving and listening to this audio as a podcast, I will kind of repeat what he says. But I just want people to watch this young boy saying, Mom, I promised you I'd be home soon. That was a lie. I lost most of the men in our unit. We now know that that's the case. And also, by the way, you might be seeing this video and he might already be dead, thanks to Zelensky. Watch.
Всім привіт. Я ще живий. Вчора нас сильно потріпало. Мам, пробач мене, будь ласка. Я обіцяв, що приїду додому. Я очень тебя люблю. Мамуся. Я обіцяю, що зроблю усе, щоб оказатися рядом з тобою. Мені дуже тяжко. Я устав, мама. Я так не хочу більше воювати. Ну, це того не стоїть, мама. Я тебя очень люблю.
Well, our senators think you should stay right there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We decided to send more money, so you stay there. You don't get to go home. We don't want that. Apparently, our leaders don't.
So if you were driving and listening to the audio version of that, I mean, he's doing a selfie video to send to his mom, hoping that his mom gets to see this video, and explaining that most of the men in his unit were hit hard yesterday and killed. He doesn't want to fight anymore. It's not worth it. He promised her that he would be home. He shouldn't have said that, he says. I promised you that I promised you I'd be back, and I shouldn't have said that. That was wrong.
Let me just point out, Zelensky promised that they would be rotated out in his updated draft agreement, which was signed into law just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, all of that. And now they want to send American and Western European troops into, and they want to go full steam ahead into World War III. So it won't be just Ukrainian boys and old men dying over there. They want to send your children, your fathers, and your sons over there to die. Yeah. And that's the state of the world these days. Yeah. And it looks like the prophecy is going to come true, because they're going to push and push until the kings of the East, and Russia and China being east of Western Christendom, to whom those punishments in the Revelation are addressed to, according to the historicist method of interpretation, looks like the time is coming real quick here. And we can only pray that it is very limited, I hope, just a limited exchange, that it doesn't go on and on. And the prophecy seems to indicate, that it won't be the end of the West, the punishment, that it will be limited to some degree. Can't say how long. We got about 30 years, according to our understanding of the calendar, before the 7th millennium begins. And I believe Christ comes for his millennial reign. Okay? And because between now and then, that same Western Europe, identified as the 10 horns of the beast, or 10 divisions of Western Christendom, Western Europe, are going to turn on the whore, the instigator of all this madness, the whore that rides the beast, the man of sin and his shadow government. And they're going to burn her with fire, because they're going to discover her intrigue. I'm adding that part. God doesn't say why, but the scripture says that God is going to put it into their hearts to do his will and turn on her and burn her with fire. You can read that for yourself in the Revelation. And the punishment of Mystery Babylon, and the mother of harlots, who is behind everything. Yes, the Antichrist is alive and well, and is not just going to appear for 7 years. There's the biblical, historical Antichrist, identified in history, and as doing what he had done in history, openly persecuting and burning Bible believers and Bibles, and making war and committing genocide in Western Europe against anyone who wouldn't go along with her idolatries and her anti-Christian ways. Yes, and she was punished in the past, and that's where she's learned to work behind the scenes and to use cover organizations like the bankers and the Illuminati and the Masons, and at the very top, the Jesuits. But behind it all, the man of sin, is now a Jesuit. And they do control the world. They own all the money, and you know that because the Bible tells you so. So people who don't believe it, they'll say they believe the Bible, but not really, because the Antichrist, they can't know who he is, they tell you, but he controls the money, because it says that he's going to require that everyone have a mark to buy or sell, and we see that system developing. So we've got about 30 years for all of this to play out before the 7th millennium begins. And people say, oh, you're nuts. You can't know the day or the hour. You can't know these things. Well, the Jews knew when Jesus was coming the first time. God let them know that it was time. And those boys were out there. Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, he runs and he says, Simon, we have found the Messiah. Because they had found Jesus. And the reason that they found him was because they were looking for him. Why were they looking for them? Because they understood the 70 weeks prophecy, that the 483 years unto Messiah the Prince, that the year was there. And I believe that we can know the signs of the times. I may not know the day or the hour, and I don't care. I may not live to the day and hour of his return, because, that would be, if that's in 2055, which is about what I estimate. So I don't know if that's give or take a year. Okay, that's my estimate. It's not necessary for me to know the day or the hour or date set or anything like that. But I can understand what God has given us in his word. And there is a timeline in the Bible from creation. And we know that the 7th millennium begins about the year 2055. Yeah. Even the Geneva Bible, the men who wrote the Geneva Bible notes, they agreed with me, or I agreed with them, actually, because they came first, but I didn't know it. I didn't know what they had found. But they came to the same exact year that I did, to the day. Yeah, I mean, not to the day, but to the year. The same exact year that I did in their notes. And the notes are to be found in the Daniel 70 Weeks Prophecy that agree with my notes. You can look it up for yourself. If you go to my website at crosstheborder.org or nicholasarthur.wordpress.com, here it is here, and you'll see up in the upper right-hand corner, it says, what year is it? You can go through that study, and you can look up every Bible reference you need is there. And somehow the Geneva Bible, the men who wrote the Geneva Bible and put their notes in there, they agreed with me, but they came to the same year by a different route, a little bit different route than I did, and I discussed that before. That's not in the thing, but I might, if I did an update, I would add that part. But I really don't need to do an update. The work speaks for itself, and like I said, every scriptural reference is in there. You can open up your Bible, you can open up your King James Bible yourself, and you can check it out for yourself and see if it's true or not. And I think that's what those boys were doing, that were looking for the Messiah. Some of them became his disciples. Some of them were already the disciples of John the Baptist. And there were people looking for the Messiah because they knew it was the year. They didn't know the day or the hour. But we know the day. We know what day and hour it was now, because it was the day and hour that Jesus showed up for his River Jordan baptism, and the announcement was made to the world openly that he was the Messiah and the Son of God. So, because the prophecy said 69 weeks unto Messiah the Prince. And God said, this is my son. That's the prince part. And he was announced as the Messiah. Andrew said it to his brother, Simon Peter, we have found the Messiah. Okay? And he was announced by John the Baptist as the Messiah. And he was 30 years old. He was of age to exercise the office of a high priest according to the law. And that's why he didn't start his ministry until his 30th year. Makes sense to me. Okay, so anyway, check that out for yourself there. And nicholasarthur.wordpress.com or crosstheborder.org. I think that'll get you there. That's CROSS, crosstheborder.org. And that's a shortcut there. And make sure you press the follow button. It'll show up somewhere. When you come up, there'll be a follow thing that'll pop up. And make sure all you got to do is give me your address or your email address, and you'll get a notification when I'm going on the air. I put a post out every night when I'm going on the air, and I don't go on every night. So, and also when I post anything else, that articles, or when I do my my regular Wednesday prophecy broadcast. This is not my regular prophecy broadcast. I usually in my Wednesday morning prophecy reality broadcast, I stick strictly to prophecy. No news, no current events or anything like that, unless it's really part of prophecy. So I'm probably going to talk about this topic of the kings of the East on Wednesday, maybe go a little bit deeper into it and pull up all the Bible verses and everything, because that's what that program is for. Let's see. Jesuit Fiend says, yes, we are saturated. Complete DNA profiles obtained from the target via remote electromagnetic resonance scanning or previous recorded DNA medical history. This information is used to determine the resonant frequency of the DNA itself. What are you talking about? Drinking glass can be determined by sound waves to either make a glass ring at a particular pitch or even cause it to explode if the resonant frequency is driven into destructive dissonance. Huh. That is how sophisticated Satan's minions are and what they truly have been up to. Yeah, well, yes, they do like to use the sciences to further their evil as much as they can. Yeah. Let's see. We're already in it. Oh, send the politician kids over there. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yes, if only we had the power to send them, right? Like someone else wrote a meme. If anyone, I guess somebody posted that. I think if anyone takes down an American flag and raises another nation's flag in its place, they should get a one-way ticket to that nation, whatever it is, and be forced to live there, if that's what they really want. And then allowed to come back if they change their mind. I think that's a great idea. Yeah. I'd pitch in for that. Yeah, I think a lot of people would pitch in for that. And all those people that threaten to leave the country if Trump becomes president, yeah, I'd even pitch in for that. You know, so because most of those people, I think, America would be a better place without them. Yeah, I think so. Okay, well, let's see. What else do we have here in our mailbox? Let's see. Okay, this from Shift Sovereign, from the Sovereign Man. I'm still going to call him the Sovereign Man. He said, today it's Climate Day, May 6th, 2024. Ooh, whoopee. Hey, you guys, it's Climate Day. Celebrate. Yes, indeed. Let me adjust my volumes here. Yeah. Climate Day, people. What's wrong with you? Talking about the end of the world. Well, I guess it is the end of the world because, looks like they're going to, instead of really worrying about the climate, they're going to destroy it by having war, and dropping nuclear bombs are not a problem. Let's hurry up. Let's run over there and attack Russia. And maybe they'll really, yeah. Because I think that Russia, if America and NATO starts to attack Russia, I think they will be adequately threatened. And they said, man, if we feel like, our nation and our life is being threatened, that, we will respond with nuclear weapons. They said it openly. They're warning, all they want America and NATO to do is obey the treaties that they signed. Yeah. But we know these crazy people over in Washington, D.C., like Medvedev, has said they've lost their minds. They're out of touch with reality. Or either that, or they really want to start World War III. What do you guys say? Let's see. Okay, Bob from PA says, Nick, did you see my text from earlier yesterday morning about Lee Brainerd? Yeah. He is exposing rapture lies? What? Because I did a show on Lee Brainerd because he was making, he was telling rapture lie. Yeah. Let me check this out. Let's see. Let me share this with everybody. Let me get it over here where I can actually read it. The YouTube video I'm sending you might interest you as a conversation interests your Nick at Night program. It involves an author who wrote a book about all the liars and deniers of pre-tribulation rapture. You may have heard it, Lee Brainerd. I did a show on him and his book. He claims the rapture teaching isn't new from John Darby. Yeah, it's all lies. All he does is he conjectures the rapture from the early church fathers in the same way that they conjecture the rapture from the Bible. So there's nothing explicit. it's all delusional nonsense. So that's all Lee Brainerd wrote a book about it, very popular because people want to believe in the delusion. But it's all a lie. Of course, he didn't notice, I guess, while he was studying all those same church fathers, that they were all historicists, how they said that when the Roman Empire was divided into 10 nations, that the Antichrist would show up. And they were right, because that happened about the end of the beginning, or around 4th, 5th century. Yeah. By the 5th century, the Antichrist had risen up after a Christian Roman Empire apostatized. The punishment was the barbarian nations coming in and destroying the Roman Empire and Roman Christendom. Yeah. And of course, the apostasy fixed its place for 1,206 years after that. So they were historicists. But he doesn't tell you about any of that stuff. He just cherry picks things that he can conjecture, like I said, in the same way that they conjecture the rapture from the Bible, as the God of the author of the Rapture Bible wrote. It's an induction, meaning it's eisegesis. They read it into the Bible. And he admits that on page, he opens chapter 14. Yeah, chapter 14, wherever that is. Chapter 14, I believe that's what it is. Let's see, here it is. Yeah, he opens chapter 14 of the Rapture Bible, called the Rapture Question, with that admission. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for that, Bob. Okay, where were we going before that? We were going to go for we were looking at Climate Day, what Sovereign Man says about Climate Day. So anyway, we'll pick up on Climate Day, our Climate Day celebration. Everybody get out your party favors and your party hats on, because we're going to party down. It's Climate Day. I'll be back in a few minutes, everybody. Don't go anywhere.
The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on satellite, internet, or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the internet. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Arthur, and I'd like to introduce you to my latest book, Reformed Prophecy Interpretation. an apology for Reformed premillennial historicism in the 21st century. As with primitive biblical Christianity, historicism is the method of prophecy interpretation restored with the advent of the Protestant Reformation, and had become so widely held that for a long time it was called the Protestant view. My book is not so much about the errors of dispensationalism or amillennialism. Rather, it is about the historicist alternative to understanding many of the same passages from the vantage point of prophecy fulfilled in history. For those that desire more than mere hypotheses, bolstered with conjectured speculation, those who require explicit biblical exegesis and verified historical fulfillment, and are not willing to accept speculation as anything other than what it is. Speculation, not truth. This book is for you. Over the last century, this method of interpretation has become almost completely forgotten, even by Protestants, in the face of a method that is based almost entirely on future speculation, rather than fulfilled prophecy in history. In my book, I examine the reasons for this and investigate some of the prophecy which has been fulfilled in the interim, as well as present an apology for Reformed premillennial historicism to the 21st century. If you're interested in a copy of my book, you can go to my website, crosstheborder.org, and get more information there. Or you may also find it at Amazon. All right, I'm back. Yeah. If you were interested in that, what I was talking about with Lee Brainerd there, I did a video on that, so I'm going to put that in the YouTube chat room too, the link to that video, my response to that. I forget when I did that. Let's see, a while ago though. Let me see, I have it here. I looked it up. Oops, it's not there. It's, oh yeah, here it is here. Recent pre-trib findings of early church fathers, Lee Brainerd, and I said, who lied? Yeah. So that was done, it says 1 month ago. I hate that. Why don't they just put the dates on? Anyway, yeah. Let's see. Darby was a criminal and a grifter. Yeah, that's all true. His credentials are getting more frequent, which may, yeah. Oh, the chemtrails are getting more frequent. Yeah. So, yeah. So anyway, so enjoy that if you're interested. And I don't know if you can actually see it because you can hide comments on channels in your channel if you want. But my channel, if you go to his video there the link you gave me, and you'll see this is the video you gave me. You'll see that right at the top is my link to the video, my answer, my rebuttal video. And I said, who lied? But I don't know if anybody else can see that because they may be hiding it from other people, because you can do that on YouTube. You can hide comments you don't want, but leave them there. Hide them from everyone else. Yeah. YouTube's sneaky. It's like they have these arrow up, your thumbs up and thumbs down on YouTube. It's worthless because this video says it has 11,000 thumbs up, but they don't tell you. You can hit thumbs down, but they won't tell you how many. I mean, it could be 10,000. It could be 20,000 thumbs down. So thumbs up all by itself is worthless because it doesn't tell you nothing. It doesn't tell you anything at all. So, because nobody's going to press a thumbs down that doesn't register anything. So, yeah. And they only did that because it was so embarrassing for Joe Biden. Can you believe that? Yeah. And and about the jab thing. Because, yeah, very unpopular video. So they stopped counting thumbs down, because they didn't like the people that they liked getting too many thumbs down. Yeah, YouTube, what a bunch of shills, man. Yeah, that's right. All right. Okay, we were going to get back to this. Climate Day. Yeah, celebrate. Today is Climate Day, says President Joe Biden in a speech on January 27th. Oh, I guess that was January 27th. Okay, because he says May 6th, today is Climate Day. And then he says it's January 27th. Okay, 21, which means that today is Jobs Day. Dealing with climate change and increasing our economic growth and prosperity are one and the same. I think of climate change, I think of jobs. That's a quote from Joe Biden. Yeah. These were among the remarks the president made before signing an executive order, law, passing law like a dictator. Yeah. Which created the American Climate Corps. That's kind of like the, what was the Peace Corps that Kennedy signed into? Made a thing, the Peace Corps. Is the Peace Corps still a thing today? Don't hear much about the Peace Corps. Not too many people interested in peace. You get 70% Americans don't want war, but yeah, the people in power want war. But now we got the American Climate Corps. Well, it took more than 3 years. Mr. Biden's Climate Corps is finally up and running, and the president inaugurated its new website a few days ago. That's why we're talking about it. Not because it's Climate Day, but because they got their new website running, which currently shows more than 2,000 new jobs available, with another 20,000 soon coming. Hey, need some easy money for doing nothing? Maybe you could, bury some burn down some forests and bury some trees in your backyard. You can get money for that, or get some really big projects of putting in pipelines to pipe carbon to some place where you can bury it in the ground. Yeah, because carbon, deadly stuff, man. That carbon dioxide stuff, that comes out of your mouth and plants love. Man, we can't have that floating around in the air. So they got, yeah. He says, I spent some time browsing the listings and saw positions like lawn buster. I guess lawns are not very climate friendly, gobbling up because they're green plants and they like carbon. Yeah. Can't have that. Green plants. It's kind of like the same thing they're doing with the farms. They're trying to shut down the farms because, all that carbon that's going to burn up the earth. The earth is going to catch on fire if they, just spontaneously combust one of these days if we don't do something about the climate emergency. Energy auditor, people going around making sure you're not using too much energy. We need little Nazis. You want to be a little Nazi? Well, the American Climate Corps has got a job for you. Let's see. Home Energy Navigator. Kind of sounds like energy auditor, but Home Energy Navigator. So they're going to be sticking their nose in your home, making sure you don't have your gas stove, and if your gas stove stops working, or that you don't get another one, because of course now using natural gas is bad too. I don't get it, but they do. And Campus Climate Action Leader. Yeah, kind of like all those clowns on the college campuses today that are, working people up, and that way you can block freeways and organize sit-ins and glue your butts to roads and stuff like that. That'll help the climate. Yeah. Maybe we should bury them with the trees that we cut down. That was what's his name? Bill Gates' idea. Cut the forest down and bury them, and all that carbon in those trees will be captured in the ground, and we can bury it. That'll help. That'll help the earth, won't it? These people are nuts, man. I'm telling you. So anyway, our sovereign man says, I spent some time browsing the listings. Yes, he did. Campus Climate Action Leader. Many of these Climate Corps jobs focus on indigenous knowledge reclamation. Indigenous knowledge reclamation. We're going to reclaim indigenous knowledge. That means they're going to throw us back into the Stone Age. They want us living in teepees and shanties and caves, right? Indigenous knowledge reclamation, and to do things the way we used to do them before we had energy, right? And youth outreach. That kind of goes with campus climate action leader, youth outreach. I guess if they're not on campus, they want to reach the youth that aren't on campus too. So it's kind of like the same job description, though. Clearly, it all sounds highly productive work. It reminds me of that old Soviet joke. We pretend to work, they pretend to pay us. Yeah, that's kind of where it's going. So if you want a job where you can pretend to work and they'll pretend to pay you with funny money, since they just printed out of thin air, they're only pretending to pay us already. Yeah. Sign up, get yourself a climate job. A climate job. There you go. If you're having a hard time getting a job, I suggest going down there and get one, because we need more unwoke people taking these jobs. Yeah, we need to act like Jesuits a little bit, and get in the enemy camps and start working there, especially if they'll pay us to do it. Why not? Working against them doesn't pay very much. Okay, let's see. Similarly, climate jobs aren't real work. Campus climate action leader? Seriously, yeah, that's what universities in America need. More fanatical activism. And, if there's a caller on the line, you can speak now or forever hold your peace. Yeah, I don't hear anything yet. Let's see. These pretend jobs are just another government boondoggle with lavish benefits and paid for by more deficit-fueled inflation. Oh, no, they got 80,000 new government workers for the IRS. They're going to be wringing it out of every American they can to pay for more of this deficit-fueled inflation. Coincidentally, just as Mr. Biden was heralding the new pretend jobs his climate core was creating, the Labor Department's monthly jobs report was released, and the numbers weren't great. Blue-collar job growth, mining, construction, oil, gas, manufacturing, restaurants was basically flat or negative. The mining and energy sectors in particular are both getting killed with significant job cuts across the board. White-collar growth is also flat or declining, which includes jobs in technology, finance, legal, accounting, and management. It's notable that the motion picture industry also seeing a major decline in jobs. I'd also point out that employment services industry, recruiting firms, saw major job cuts, as perhaps the canary in the coal mine, suggesting the U.S. job market has peaked and maybe now be in decline. Yeah, we're running out of energy. Everything's too expensive. People are cutting back. They have to cut back. Prices are going up. And I think any gains in sales are only because the prices are higher, if they're counting the gains in dollars. Because, of course, there's more economic activity. If last month you paid $4 for gas, and this month you're paying $5 for gas, that's $1 more economic activity. So a lot of it is really fake activity. So it's really, things are worse if you take inflation into account. Things are actually worse or actually going backwards. Yeah. Social assistance jobs, i.e. handing out taxpayer-funded benefits like welfare, food stamps, and free housing, are also on the rise. So we got to pay people to give more money away. Yeah, that's producing something, isn't it? Huh? This isn't exactly a strong indicator for the U.S. economy. Yeah, socialism don't work. That's why I'm not a socialist. I don't collect socialism. There's no law that says I have to participate in socialism, so I refuse to do it. Yeah, I do not have to be a socialist. It's a free country, isn't it? And lastly, government jobs are soaring. True to his word, Joe Biden keeps conjuring new federal jobs out of thin air, creating armies of tax police, climate warriors, and powerful bureaucrats to debilitate the U.S. economy even further. These government jobs offer almost nothing of value to the private economy. They don't add to the American productivity. Quite the opposite, really. More bureaucrats will make it more difficult for people to produce goods and services. But the people in charge don't understand such realities, or they do, and they don't care because they're trying to destroy the country. So they work for the Antichrist. Oh, that's the end of the call that nobody answered. I guess I'll just take that number there and block it forever. Block, and yes, forever gone. Yeah, someone was on the line. But I was busy. But they could have spoke up. The sound was all the way up. But they said nothing at all. Oh, strike one, you're out forever. Okay. So, but people in charge don't understand such realities. Cast in point, a few days ago, the acting labor secretary, who had enormous power over U.S. businesses and the job market, demonstrated a complete lack of understanding about basic labor principles and couldn't even manage to answer the simple question of whether she has ever owned a business. She hasn't. Not to be outdone by this demonstrably incompetent cabinet members, President Biden gave a speech on Wednesday in which he claimed the U.S. economy is so strong because we welcome immigrants, who only cost us money. Yeah, that's strong, because we're conjuring more money out of thin air, really by inflation. They're ripping off the American people by inflation to pay for all this stuff, as well as taxing us to death. Yes. Well, that's certainly one way to put it. Another way would be that the U.S. government deliberately rolls out the red carpet for illegals who come across our southern border, or they fly in from every nation in the world that wants to come, on our dime also. And yet at the same time, talented and productive foreigners who attempt to come to the U.S. legally are forced into an endless, highly bureaucratic immigration process fraught with uncertainty and insane costs. It's true that many of the millions of illegals probably have jobs, but they don't pay a dime in income tax, plus vast swarms of them are sucking on the teat of outrageous taxpayer-funded subsidies, free phones, free housing, free healthcare, free education, free money. So these migrants are really a net negative for the economy. In the same speech last Wednesday, the president further claimed that Japan has a weak economy because they're xenophobic. This wasn't a gaffe. The guy honestly believes that the southern invasion is a major economic boon and that Japan is missing out because they actually care who comes into their country. Fiscal restraint, high saving rates, productivity, innovation, capitalism, these don't factor into their thinking when it comes to economic growth. Instead, these people believe that the path to prosperity is government jobs, higher taxes, massive debts, deficits, debilitating regulation, diversity and inclusion, which ensures the equality of outcomes rather than equality of opportunity, free benefits, and illegal migration. It is ironic that many of these were core principles of the Soviet Union, except for the illegal immigration part. Even the Soviets had a good sense to secure their borders. To your freedom. James Hickman. Yes, indeed. Good article there, James. Thank you for that. Okay, let's check out comments here. We have, see, it's always multiphasic. Busy bee is straying from the Holy Bible. Oh, busy bee. I heard you teach and say the Essenes were biblically accurate. Oh, you heard a teacher say the Essenes were biblically accurate. Yeah, no, they are not. First century heretics is right. She says thank you for the truth. Okay. Yes, he has prepackaged the rapture theory. Oh, it's still talking about what's his name. Yeah, he's given new life. He's breathed new life into the fallacy with more lies. And the guy is, anyway, watching my video where I do a mock debate with him. Yeah, because I answer all his, yes, because I've read the same fathers he has, but he's acted like no one's ever read this before. I've discovered the early church fathers, and he tries to impress you because he speaks Koine Greek or something and whatever, but he ignores what the fathers actually say. And anyway, so yeah, make sure you check that out for a little bit of, I hope, good entertainment at least, and truth. Let's see, I learned the definition of Hegelian dialectic. Better later than never. That's a Jesuit dialect alongside learning against learning, or learning against learning. What's the other phrase they have for that? They have another phrase for that. I can't remember what it is at this minute. Okay. Up to her nostrils and shills. Okay, correct Nicholas with the Jesuits as masters. The new jobs employ donor kids that can't find work. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah, I sympathize with you, Busy Bee. He says, my things may not get to heaven, has me distraught, and I'm getting busy. Yep, I understand that. We all are praying for our children and our grandchildren, all caught up in the world and things around us. All we can do is just keep praying for them. So I add you guys and your children and to my prayers also. So add me and mine to yours. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, let's see. We still got a whole segment to go, so let's see what else we got. Okay, that was my first one. And then we have redacted news here. Happy Monday. Yep, that's today. Let's see. I'm too sexy for my shirt. That's why one Italian model says he was fired as a greeter for the Met Gala. He says that last year he got in trouble for upstaging Kylie Jenner. I have no idea what all that means. So, okay, in case you missed it, President Xi Jinping will visit Europe this week for the first time in 5 years. That should be interesting. So, he's going to Western Europe this week for the first time in 5 years. We're going to have to pay attention because, we have the Kings of the East prophecy coming up. And they're pushing China. We'll see what it says because he classifies, because it says kings, and both China and Russia are due east of the original ancient Western Christendom. Yeah, I say ancient Western Christendom because we are the outreach. We are the spread of Western Christendom, where it has spread over the whole earth. So, yeah. Okay, we got another number here trying to call in, so I guess I'll accept it and say, speak now or forever you hold your peace. Oh, yeah, you're supposed to text me your name and your number first. So if you want to talk to me, name and number first, text me, and then call in. Thank you. I keep forgetting my own rule. See the text number right there. Text it first. It says first name, city, state, please. Name and where you're calling from. Okay. Text me that first, then call in. Thank you. Because I need a board op, but I can't afford one. All right? I even have to kill my own rattlesnakes, so yeah. Don't have a gardener either. Don't have a guy for that. Yeah. So have your people talk to my people. Oh, I don't have any people. Oh, you are my people. All right, here we go. In case you missed it. A driver died after crashing into the White House this weekend. I did miss that. Any of you guys know about that? Yeah. Secret Service says that initial investigations do not show a threat to the president. So he crashed into the White House? I mean, like through the fence and everything? Wow. Of course, since nobody can get near the White House and Congress as it is, since they put a fence around everything, since Joe Biden became president, yes, it's indicative of what kind of president it is. But anyway, no, I didn't know that. Anybody out there know that? Yeah? Okay. Okay, and also, in case you missed it, at least 15 states have filed lawsuits against the Biden administration for changes to Title IX, which allow men to access female spaces in sports. Yeah, because only Congress can change law. Biden cannot. So Biden will lose. 15 states have filed lawsuits. So good for that, exerting those states' rights and you know, they want to throw off the cords that bind them, as the scripture says, but we need to fight back here in America to make sure that we push back as far as we can the federal government into the space where it belongs, where it is constrained by the Constitution, and we have a long way to go to get it back into that box. Because a lot of those agencies that they've created, like Department of Education, Department of Energy, and a whole slew of them, all need to be closed down because they are all unconstitutional. Yeah. And let's see. I guess we'll pick up here when we get back from these messages. Okay, so. And I'll check take a little walk, and I'll check the chat rooms before I get back. So anyway, here's our out music, and I am out with it. But don't go anywhere.
The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on satellite, internet, or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the internet. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, C-R-O-S-S, crosstheborder.org to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
Yes, I did make it back. A little more than maybe. See, what did I learn by looking in the chat room? That No Bucks is making fried taters while listening. Yum. Okay, makes me hungry. Genetic modification says in lard and raw butter. I fry mine in butter if I fry potatoes at all. So anyway, let's see. Where did we leave off? Oh, yeah, in case you missed it. That's where we're at. A fancy New York City Broadway hotel has reportedly been converted into an illegal immigrant shelter paid for by taxpayers. Of course. That's Joe Biden. Yeah. Making America broke again. It's good for the economy. Yeah. See. Iowa says that it will enforce a law criminalizing deporting illegal immigrants. The Biden administration has threatened to sue in order to stop them, but the governor says that she will not be deterred. Okay, way to go, states. Yeah. Yeah, and even if they sue them, you can just do what they do. They ignore. I mean, the judge told them that he couldn't forgive student debt, so they just went around and did it anyway. And then they did it again. So I think we ought to take our cue from Joe Biden in that case. Even if they sue us, it doesn't matter. And say, yeah, come here and make me stop. I think the states need to get a little rebellious against their servant, the federal government. What do you guys think? It's not rebellion if you're the boss, is it? And we are the boss, aren't we? I mean, it was the states that created the federal government, not vice versa. But you'd think they were God, or they think they're God anyway. Okay, U.S. Representative Hakeem Jeffries says that the U.S. may send troops to Ukraine if Kyiv falls. Meanwhile, France deployed troops to Ukraine last night. Here we go. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Jeffries. Yes. Libtards for war. Yes. An Israeli air base in Israel was attacked by the Islamic resistance. So that war's on too. Yeah. And gold is up. Yep. And silver is up. Looks like everything is up. Okay. But gold and silver are not up to their recent highs, but I'm sure that they'll keep climbing. I did have an article on that somewhere if we have time, but so anyway, that's that. Lead. U.S. stops sending bombs to Israel. Really? Axios reports the U.S. has stopped shipping weapons to Israel, but Israeli officials say that they have heard no such thing. An Israeli official told Ynet the stream of security shipments from the U.S. to Israel is ongoing. While individual shipments might be delayed, the overall flow remains uninterrupted, and we're not aware of any policy suspending it. The Axios reports posits that the Biden administration is concerned with Israel's planned invasion of Rafah. They're not. The invasion could start this week. The Israeli army began evacuations just today, what they say is a humanitarian zone that includes field hospitals, tents, increased amount of food, water, medication. So it's continuing there. And we'll move on from that. Cancer is the new COVID. Yes. And we would have to talk about the job. Pfizer says that cancer is the new COVID, and they expect their new cancer drugs, probably mRNA, to be a blockbuster. Yeah. Yeah, the last ones were blockbuster and made them 50 bill, 100 bill, I don't know how many, insane amount of money. Billions upon tens of billions, $50 billion. How much money did they make on that one? Yeah, but they think their new cancer vaccines are going to be a blockbuster too. Yeah, I wonder why. I don't even have to say it, do I? You all know. Yep. So there, YouTube. We already know. Yeah. Save the world, you say? Pfizer COVID vaccine did not reduce transmission, or is any proof that it reduced? Yes, all of that stuff. Yep. Blockbuster. Okay, let's see. Trouble sleeping? We'll miss that. Nice trying. Students at Ucalama University say that all finals should be canceled and students awarded passing grades because they are irrevocably shaken by the recent protests on campus. Really? Yeah, like that. Nice try? No. That's crazy. The events of last night left us and many of our peers unable to focus and highly emotional during this tumultuous time. We believe that canceling exams would be a proportionate response to the leveling distress of our peers having been feeling. Surprisingly, the school is not planning to do that. Yeah, surprisingly. Yes, what do people think of next? Now let's see, what's trending? What on earth is this? This looks like the woman's wearing her bed. There's the pillows and there's the what do you call it? Anyway, whatever. Met Gala is trending because that happens tonight. The theme is Sleeping Beauties. Yeah, I guess that's a Sleeping Beauty, all right. Yes, indeed. Like she's wearing her bedspread dress. There it is. Sleeping Beauties, and the dress code is Garden of Time, so break out your bedspread dress. That's insanity, but I guess there are more insane things than women wearing a bedspread dress with 2 pillows for a collar. Crazy, man. Let's see. What else? What else is trending? Aaron Judge is trending for getting thrown out of a game over a dispute with the umpire over a strike. This is the first time the slugger has been ejected from a game. So anyway, for all you sports fans out there, means nothing to me. And The Fall Guy is trending because the movie opened this weekend to good reviews and made over 28 million box sales, which is lower than original expectations. The Fall Guy. No, doesn't ring a bell. Don't know anything about that. Maybe it comes on Freevee TV in 10 years. I'll watch it. Yeah. Let's see. News by the numbers. Always good. 18-1. That was the odds for Mystic Dan, the horse that won the Kentucky Derby this weekend in a photo finish. Oh, I missed the Kentucky Derby. I always like to go watch a good horse race, but I'm sure I can watch it on YouTube after the fact. Yeah. And 15%. That is how much Peloton will cut its workforce due to a major slump. I don't know what Peloton is. Sales and revenue, shares of the stock fell to record low. Included announcement CEO would step down. And 1.6 million. That's how many people in Brazil showed up for a free Madonna concert. This was the finale to her celebration tour. If she threw a free concert here, I wouldn't go. But, yeah, whatever. Let's see, what else we got here? Israel censors foreign media. Yeah, big surprise there. They get Americans to censor for them in America. I'm certain they have no compunction about censoring foreign media in their own country. So don't have to read that, do we? Yes. Why do broadcasters need to be shut down during our war operations? The opposite is true. Yeah. Anyway, we're getting close to the end here. The end of the broadcast, and we're getting closer to the end of the world as we know it. Because the good news is, even with all of the judgments and, disaster and catastrophe of the last 2,000 years, and the few judgments that are left to come before Christ comes, when he comes, for those of us that know him and are purchased by his blood, things will only get better for us, even if they get worse in the interim. Even if we have to go through severe tribulation, like a lot of our brothers and sisters are doing in places like Israel and Ukraine and in Gaza and in Africa. Yeah. A lot of our brothers and sisters in Christ in China also. There's a lot of persecution going on in the world, so we should always keep them in prayer, especially where war is going on. And because we may need that kind of prayer. We don't know where there's bombs, those limited nuclear strikes are going to fall from the kings of the East. We pray that they're not in our neighborhood, but we got people from all neighborhoods watching this show right now. And if Russia wants to punish Washington, D.C., I would be nowhere near there now. Yeah. Especially Washington, D.C. And, wherever you might think that, because I think they want to target the decision centers. That's what they've indicated. So I don't think they want a war with the West. I don't think they ever wanted a war with the West. Yeah. That's true. Actually, they wanted to join NATO many years ago, but they were rebuffed for that. I guess they wanted to keep options open in case we needed NATO for something. Like we need someone to start a war with. We can't have everybody join the same, the same organization. We got to have an enemy, so they couldn't let Russia. I mean, I thought Russia would be a good fit for NATO. They're like, yeah, they'd have been a great fit with Western Europe and for NATO. They should not have been rebuffed, because then there's no threat of war if they're your allies, is there? Yeah. But I think the Antichrist wanted to keep them out, to keep the options open for what's going on right now. Yeah. That's why they turned them communists. That was communism is an antichrist operation. Yes, it is. You'll find out if you go to the beginnings of communism, wherever it rears its ugly head, you'll find the Jesuits there. Yeah, Stalin was Jesuit trained, and so were many others. Communism is a antichrist shadow government operation, and that's why they're trying so hard to get it into America, because it always does the job for them. But they hate that Russia threw off communism. The Antichrist does. He hates that. And oh, God forbid they turn back to their Orthodox church instead of the Catholic Church. They have their own Russian Orthodox Church as part of which came out of the Eastern Orthodox. Yeah. So you can see why, yeah. The Antichrist wants to war with them. Because when you get right down to it, you have to remember one thing. All wars are religious at their very core. Doesn't matter what they say. You'll always find that they're religious at their core. Okay, well, that's all we have for redacted news. See, we have that. Oops, I guess I close. Oh, yes. Oh, United Methodist Church. We don't even want to talk about that. With a final flourish, the United Methodist Conference eliminates all anti-LGBTQ policies. Yes. Gone totally woke and totally sodomite. And Jezebel feminist. There you go. So what I suggest, plant a garden. How's your garden going, you guys? It's the time of year. Get that garden in. Hurry up. Get it in. My corn's already sprouting out there, and I got all my seeds planted in my seed planter things, so I can transplant them into the ground when they get big enough. So grow some food. Save yourself some money. You see how much vegetables cost in the store these days? Man, you better grow everything you can. Get those chickens laying those eggs. And I'm declining this call because it's too close to the end of the broadcast. Plus, if you want to call in, it's text me your name and number first, then call in. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. So don't bother calling back in again unless you're going to give me your name and number first. That would be nice. That way I know who's calling, since I can't afford a producer. Okay? Poor boy can't afford a producer. And I got no volunteers. Okay. All right, let's see. We still got minutes here, and I closed my other headlines. Let me see if I can get them back opened up here. Yes, here we are. Let's see. The heroic anti-war students. I'm not sure. Lou Rockwell. Yeah, Lou Rockwell is a good libertarian website, but you have to understand what they are, and they're very Catholic libertarians. And I think the Pope would call them rebellious Catholics. I love rebellious Catholics, and even if a lot of them haven't given up their idolatries of the Catholic Church, because they're deceived, But we know God says to them, it's written in the Revelation where he says, "Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her plagues and her punishments." So my advice to everyone in the Catholic anti-Christian church, the Church of Rome, yeah, that one. It's not the Church of Jesus, it's the Church of Rome. The Roman Church that thinks it rules the church world instead of Jesus Christ or in his place, the vicar of Christ, the Antichrist. Yeah, that one. You got to come out of it and leave all the idolatries of transubstantiation and worshiping idols and praying to dead saints and purgatory. Leave it all behind. Jesus said you must be born again, and then you can boldly enter into the throne. You don't need a priest. Yeah, you don't need you don't need priestcraft to be saved. It's only by faith alone, by grace alone, by Christ's blood alone that we are saved. Yes, indeed. So read your Bible, because reading the Bible turns Catholics into Protestants. Yeah. Get the King James Version. But you can even read your Catholic Bible. It's in there. Yeah. But some things they have changed. You know, they've changed some words like repentance. They think they turn that into penance. Big difference. Things like that. So get you a King James Bible. An authorized King James Bible. Best English version out there. 8th grade level readings. Not difficult at all. Don't let people say, oh, these and thous and it's too hard to understand. It's 8th grade level. Give me a break. You're not that stupid. So if anybody tries to tell you you're too stupid to read the King James Version, I would just correct him. Say, no, I'm not that stupid. I could read 8th grade level English because that's what the King James Version is. Yeah. Okay, anti-war students have been staging protests and demonstrating at a great many university campuses around America. A number of so-called conservatives have called for the police to arrest the students. And I'm sorry, man, I'm not buying into it. These are all staged. There's instigators there doing this. And they're just trying to create another summer of love like the summer of 2020. That's what they want again. I'm not going for it. My dogs are barking like mad out there. Could be the FBI. Oh, no. Whatever. Yes. No, I think it's coyotes and rattlesnakes. But they seem to can't get off of it. Of course, my mic, you can't hear them over my mic, can you? Busy Bee says, I want to move. Yeah, if you're in the city, yes, you should want to move. If you got some friends or family in the country or in a small town or something, I'd get there. Because you know how those cities can go crazy. Yeah. Oh, boy. Anyway, I'm going to tell these dogs to shut up, but I got to shine a light out there. I'll be right back. Yeah. Sorry about that. That's why I need a producer too, to go out there and shine a light on things. Yes, indeed. No coyotes. Well, they are there. I know they're there. All right, let's see. See what else we got here. So anyway, that's the student thing going on there. Let's see what else we got. Public schools and the state's omnipotent bayonet. Sounds too complicated. The youth are precious. Well, the youth are precious. Yes, well, our children should be precious to us, but I don't know what this article is about. The number of children killed by bombs from Israel planes is far larger than the number of civilians killed by Hamas. Yeah, it is heartbreaking. I agree with that. And children are precious. But there's nothing I can do about the war over there except pray for those people. Yeah. Let's see. Free speech in plain language. Anti-Semitism versus free speech. Yeah, that's going on in the news. We all know about that. BRICS should be ready for a dollar collapse. Russian IMF rep. Yeah. I guess they think they're ready for the dollar to collapse. And with Joe Biden at the helm, Can it be stopped in time? I mean, they're working so hard to do as much damage as they can. It is just amazing how much damage these people can do. It's like, there should be some way to stop it. People like this getting in the government and doing all this damage, and there's no way to stop them. It's just crazy. How did we get here? How did we get here? Yeah. U.S. National Plan on Responsible Business Conduct. Okay, I have no idea what that means. The United States-Ukraine Security Pact is lipstick on a bloody defeat for NATO. Yeah. See, the keys to trusting your gut. So if you have gut problems, it has a lot to do with your health, your whole body. I learned that. Keeping your gut biome in balance. If you're not taking probiotics regularly, you should be. That's for sure. And that's my tone. That means I have run out of time. Okay, well, thank you all for showing up. I do appreciate it. Make sure you get over to my website and press the follow button there. Like and share this video or whatever you're watching on. I would really appreciate it. And may the Almighty bless you and keep you as you travel on the narrow way that leads to life. I'll see you next time. Secrets of the Rapture. Is there a 500-year-old conspiracy? A propaganda machine so pervasive and entrenched, yet so elusive that the entire world could be taken in by it, working in plain sight, but unseen by the world for what it truly is? If prophecy is God-given history in advance, why does the prophecy that has conquered the age also exclude nearly 2,000 years of history? What is it that they are afraid that the light of history will reveal? To understand our place in time and prophecy, we must look in history for an interpretation, that which stands the test of time, that which agrees with the Word of God, and history has proven to be true. When cunning fables and fearful speculations are removed from our sight, then we may clearly see what is truly expressed in Bible prophecy, both that which has been fulfilled and that which has yet to come. God's express word is the sword that must be wielded to remove the scales from the eyes and dispel the darkness of deceitful conjecture. Secrets of the Rapture was written to expose that which the spirit of the age has conjured out of the darkness to blind the eyes of the church in the world today. Secrets of the Rapture, Deconstructing Pre-Tribulation Dispensational Futurism by yours truly, Nicholas Arthur, is now available at lulu.com and Amazon. Secrets of the Rapture.
The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue.
American Family News, I'm Robert Thornton. Former President Trump is being threatened with potential jail time for violating a gag order in his New York hush money trial. Here's Fox's Nate Foy.
Judge Juan Merchan threatened Trump with jail time this morning. He fined Trump $1,000 for violating the court's gag order, and he acknowledged that the fines don't appear to be having much